Hello, everyone. My name is Butimbele. You guys have seen Kevin. Thank you, Kevin Volner, for the introduction as we try and work with you guys at WeCom Telecommunications. Guys, we looking obviously here at the challenges that Kevin has introduced to you. I might just recap on them, which is the widespread absenteeism, all-time record low productivity, insubordination, protracted industrial action, negative media attention, and employer of unchoice. Obviously, WeCom is facing that difficult time at the moment where employees they are not motivated. I don't think they feel like working, as the challenges have said that there's lots of absenteeism. People are not delivering. People are complaining. So, I mean, there are ways of improving situations like this. As a company, as BNC Management Consultancy, we are assessing the situation of what is happening in this organization. And in our assessment, we realize that there's a big lack of organization culture in an organization. There's a culture that is required, or that needs to be there, that it acts like an interwoven that holds all your employees and your management together in achieving one goal and producing high performance. So in this case, looks like the culture is actually missing. We look at a guy called Charles Caldwell, who wrote a book about performance management. Charles says that organization culture is a combination of values and beliefs and behaviors that are exhibited by the people in organization. I mean, people need a sense of belief in both in them and in the organization, knowing that the organization is taking them to the right direction, knowing that their futures are covered. And the culture that needs to be in the organization needs to be transferred to everyone in the organization. It needs to be interwoven. It needs to start from the top, including the managers, and transfer to all the employees. And it needs to be implemented from the top to bottom, inclusive of managers. And there needs to be a partnership with employees when it comes to culture. Caldwell suggests that a partnership between employees and management that helps employees perform at their best and align contributions with the goals, values, and initiatives of the organization. So we suggest, we see that this is a big problem because there is not that organization culture. So we look at two initiatives, both are linked together. The first, we're looking at Mr. Caldwell's management model, and then we look at Stephen Hunt and Sylvia Lennon performance management system. So in Mr. Caldwell's model, he addresses issues of performance management. But when he addresses these issues, I mean, there's a diagram that he shows, which I'm going to move to it here, which emphasizes the goal that culture is a foundation that everything that is built on. That culture includes your values, it includes your beliefs, and includes your behaviors. In this structure, you can see that he's got, in step one, he's got a planning performance. What is expected? Objectives needs to be made. People need to know what is it that is expected of them. What are they required to do? So that is important. That step one is very important to actually look at the beginning and say, what is actually required in this company? As for me, as an employee, what is required? And then step two, we need to look at monitoring. Are we on track? Are we doing what is expected? The objectives that we decided on step one, are we meeting them? If we are on track, as you can see on the diagram, then fine, we move to step 5 where we say maintain performance. But if we're not on track, then we need to look at analyzing the performance. What performance gaps? So we're not on track, so that means there are gaps. What are the gaps? So we need to look at the gaps and assess the gaps. And then after the gaps, then we look at how do we improve those gaps? How do we close those gaps in order for us to achieve the common goal of the company? And then moving from there, we know step 5 is basically maintaining. It does not help improving the gaps and closing the gaps if we're still going to let them open. So we need to maintain performance. We need to make sure that we keep performance on track. We keep everything going. And then obviously all this back to step 1 again. So this is a model that Cardwell was talking about. And then we move on to Stephen Hunt, performance management system, which is also almost based to the same structure of the model. So he says, how do we motivate employees? How do we make sure that these employees, they wake up in the morning and come to work and enjoying work and loving what they're doing? Stephen Hunt and Sylvia Lenman in their 2013 in their book called Business Execution for Dummies, it states that improving morale, creating loyalty, and increasing overall productivity in your employees through performance is the key to your company outperforming the competition. In the case of our morale, in the case of WeCom telecommunication, the morale is very, very low, and there's no loyalty, and people are doing whatever that they want to do. So they need to have a sense of feeling. They need to know that they can, they are valuable in this organization. So the steps of the performance management systems, I'm not going to go too deep into them, but it's defining goals, which is also the same as Caldwell's first step, which is planning performance. We define the goals. What do we do when we define goals? Defining goals, we define individual goals and aligning them with the corporate strategy. So the process of setting goals should be collaborative process between a manager and his employees. Once a company-wide strategy is established, individual goals should be created that support big picture. People need to understand the big picture, major job functions and responsibilities, both shared and individual, should be addressed within the SMART goal framework. We need to be specific, well-defined, to inform employees exactly what is expected of them, when is it expected, how is it expected. We need to be measurable. How do we measure it? And we need to be relevant. The goal should focus on the greatest impact to the overall corporate strategy. A goal should be grounded within a time frame to create a sense of agency of the competition. So we need to obviously monitor the progress of the goals as well. We're putting these things down. So we need to be able to monitor them. And you know what? The most important thing, we need an appraisal process. People need to be pat on the back to say, hey, well done, you have done well. And from there, the fourth is pay for performance. Compensation is given based upon performance. If performance meets or exceeds the desired standard, a reward is given. If performance does not meet the desired standard, a performance development plan is created to address the gap. A new performance date is scheduled, just like Caldwell's model was saying. So we need to make sure that a successful pay-for-performance compensation strategy can be the key to retaining your top talent and driving organizational performance that exceeds all expectations. Okay. And we have a quote from Caldwell's here. It says, a strong culture where partnership and alignment are viewed as important and truly exist in an organization is a must. So how do we achieve this? All of this obviously needs a champion, needs someone who can put it together. We cannot expect HR managers to be able to deal with it. This is something beyond them. So we speak about strategic human resource management. So a strategic human resource management plan needs to be put in place. It needs to be implemented to the organization. Strategy, why strategy? Strategy is because it's a long-term plan for how the organization will work. So Tesla says strategy is a long-term plan for how the company will balance its internal strengths and weaknesses and with its external opportunities and threats to maintain competitive advantage. So why strategic human resource management? Well, it is necessary today because the company is interested in future results. Strategic management is about differentiating and competitive advantage that we're talking about. I mean, people are competitive advantage, are the results. You get competitive advantage through people. So if people are happy, then you get competitive advantage. So we at BNC Consultancy, we came up with a director role that we would suggest that a company, that we implement this director role and the requirement of director role, because we know that the director role, you need someone who's going to sit at the top in the executive level. So the requirement is a strategic HR champion with trust from executive level, someone who's going to develop organizational strategies by identifying and researching human resources issues, and someone who's got power, influence behavior. To influence behavior, change events, overcome resistance, and to get people to do things they will not otherwise do. This will not be a normal HR manager. This will be an executive type person. So we need someone to do that, and then we put together a job description of a role of HR director. We've actually got this role suggestion from Job Monster, as you can see. So a role like that, I mean, where do you get a person like that? I mean, with our resources of connection and today's world of social networking, we got lots of people that we know. But beside that, doing a research on LinkedIn, I mean, we can find a different type of people. There's one lady that comes to mind, which is Tracy Rohr. Tracy has been holding directorship positions at companies across the world, so to speak, in South Africa, in London. You know, right now she's in Dubai. That's her profile there and experience. We think that this lady is a person who is qualified enough to be able to take this company to another level, as she's been HR director, head of HRs and director in different huge companies in the world. This is her skills that she has. We believe that this lady will help the company quite a lot. Thank you.